Andrew Tate and brother Tristan Tate under criminal investigation in Florida Attorney General. And maybe if you got whatever the clips you got, let's just go through them and let's comment on them. So this is the Attorney General saying what he plans to do with the Tate brothers. Go for it.
Yeah, look, these guys have themselves publicly admitted to participating in what very much appears to be soliciting, trafficking, preying upon women around the world. Many of these victims coming forward, some of them minors, people can spin or defend however they want. But in Florida, this type of behavior is viewed as atrocious. We're not going to accept it. They chose to come here and set their feet down in this state. And we're going to pursue every tool we have within our legal authority to hold them accountable. So we are in the process today. We have secured and executed subpoenas and warrants, and we're going to continue to move forward with full force of law. This is an ongoing criminal investigation, and we're going to use every tool we have to ensure that justice is served.
You've opened a criminal investigation?
There is an active criminal investigation, yes.
Do you believe that can you give me any details of what?
I can't comment on a pending investigation, but what I can tell you is if these guys did criminal activity here in Florida, we will go after them with the full force of law and hold them accountable.
Okay, so the key sentence there was what? If these guys did.
If.
Okay, yeah, if these guys did, and anybody in the world that does that, if they did, but you have to prove that these guys did.
Of course.
Here's what Byron Donalds, because originally when we had Tate here, we talked about Ron DeSantis, and what's the good word to use it? There's a people that choose the titles for the clips. They said Andrew Tate destroyed Ron DeSantis, and that was trending all over the place, right? Maybe he did not hold back was a better way of saying it. There was no holding back with Tate on Ron, and then he supported Byron, what Andrew said. Yeah. But here's what Byron said afterwards about Tate. Go forward.
The current Attorney General of Florida has announced he's opened a criminal investigation against Andrew Tate and his brother Tristan because in Romania, where they just came to Florida from, there were charges of rape, sex with minor, and trafficking, human trafficking. Do you support the Attorney General's actions here?
I do. I think those allegations have to be fully investigated, and then we go from there. The key thing is we don't tolerate the trafficking of women or, frankly, the abuse of women. We do not tolerate that. So if the Attorney General finds cause under Florida law to investigate that, then I wish him the best, and I support whatever he's going to do on that matter.
Are Andrew and Tristan Tate welcome in Florida?
No. Quite frankly, not. Because if you listen to some of the dialogue, I find it to be demeaning and disgusting. That's not about being an alpha male. It's not about being a strong man. What they stand for, in my view, is something totally different.
Okay, so what was the words he said? If the allegations fully investigated, if there's abuse of women, trafficking, none of us are for that. They're not welcome to Florida. A little bit of a strange thing to say, but not welcome. I have a bunch of opinions on this. This is who? This is him and Candace. That's right. So, Rob, can you play this clip here? Go for it.
Come get me, arrest me, perp walk me, put me on the news, tell everyone I'm a human trafficker. You think I'm not versed? You think I'm not ready? I'm a Navy SEAL in this shit. Fucking come get me, raid my house, take my stuff. You think I sleep with a full phone full of evidence? You think I don't wipe my phone every night? You think I'm dumb? Come get me, arrest me. Let's do this all over again. I've done it for 4.
Wow. You think I don't go to sleep with a phone full of evidence? What does that mean? It's a little strange thing to say right there. Rob, what is there any other clips to play on this or no? That's fine to go right here. We'll go to the rest of it. Rob, go for it. Rob Smith, go for it.
What? Oh. I thought you talk about Rob. No, it's two Robs in the room. All right, so look. It's a political play by Team DeSantis here in Florida. I think to just go out and kind of like have the Attorney General say that, we're going to investigate, et cetera, et cetera. What this has to do is with the fact that Casey DeSantis is rumored to be running for governor, right? Yeah. So this is all politics. And what it speaks to me, and this is the reason that DeSantis got destroyed in the primary, it's the reason that, honestly, a lot of people that were on Team DeSantis are so dead in D.C. and MAGA world right now is because they do not read the room. They're all about politics. Now, Florida politics is very insular in the way, and I understand that Byron is running for governor of Florida as well, so he said what he said. But when Byron Donalds made the point, number one, it came up, he was prompted to say this. Like somebody asked him the question, he didn't lead with it, and he said, look, if the Attorney General in Florida wants to investigate this, and he finds something. I support him in that, right? But like I said, this is all coming from DeSantis' world. Look, DeSantis has been a great governor in Florida. I was very much a fan of him, still is, in terms of what he does in Florida. But this is naked politics, and this is also Team DeSantis trying to run to the left of anything that they see as sort of unseemly or any cultural figures that are very powerful in MAGA world. This is the reason that they are dead in D.C. This is the reason that Ron DeSantis spent a lot of his political capital running against Trump. I do not think that there's any real particular reason why they wanted to pick this fight other than to try to look good or more moderate or to the left of what they see as hardcore MAGA or even Trump in some ways.
Yeah, so this is Ron DeSantis posted this tweet yesterday or 2 days ago. KC teeing off at Trump International Palm Beach, made birdie on the hole. Casey and Trump had no trouble winning the match. So meaning, hey, we're united with Trump. This is very important for DeSantis. The fact that Trump is okay with him posting this picture tells you another one of those moments that Trump wants to find a way to unify the party, and he wants to find a way to unify the MAGA community as well as the DeSantis community. But specific to the Tate, Adam, you ran a poll. Rob, if you want to pull up the poll that he ran on Instagram, your thoughts on what's going on with the Tates?
Look, I'm actually very disappointed in the Florida government right now. I mean, if you told me something like this happened in New York, if you told me like something like this happened in California, if you told me something like this happened in Chicago or a blue state, I'd be like, all right, I could see that. But Florida, where woke goes to die, the free state of Florida, these guys haven't been charged or convicted of anything. It's all allegations, and I'm not making any apologies for what they may or may have done. I'm just stating the facts here. But Florida, as a lifelong Floridian, my entire life, I'm actually like, I don't even feel comfortable saying how I truly feel for the first time in my life, because maybe the Attorney General is going to open up an investigation on something he hears on the internet. And I get that the Tates say some things that are incredibly shocking. But like I made the analogy the other day, it's like when Hulk Hogan or The Rock or Macho Man Randy Savage say some ridiculous stuff, they're playing a character. And in many components, Tate, when he does his online persona, is playing a character. Can we at least admit that? How many times has Tate put on the sunglasses to play the character, and then he goes, let me take these off to make my point? Like, it's almost like Superman's cape. Those are his glasses. So, Governor DeSantis, who we've been very congratulatory towards and say great things, he comes and says, you're not welcome. Why? Are there any crimes? It's almost like they want to find the man and then find the crime. And then Tate called it absolute communism. So it's very confusing. But based on this poll, and it's not like my particular Instagram audience is like completely right-wing, probably have a center-right audience. 80% said, no, Tate's the man. He's free the top G. Or, I don't agree with everything he says, but I do respect him. 80%. The other 20% say, not a fan, but I see why people are. And only 6% say, I hate him with a passion, lock him up. So based on a pretty moderate audience, 80% of people like Tate.
Vinny, any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I just feel, I think it's hypocritical with DeSantis and all these guys that were just so anti, Joe Biden's weaponization of the justice system, going after Trump for everything that they were saying that he was doing, all the charges, everything. You don't like the fact that he was talking shit about you. So now you guys are sending the Attorney General, by the way, he took Pam Bondi's job, that AG. You're looking for a crime now and you nailed it, Pat. Right now, if they just start an investigation on someone, you don't think people are going to come out and be like, yeah, I'll say something. Yeah, you know what they'll do? They'll be like, did you feel uncomfortable in that room with him? Yeah. Did Andrew Tate make you feel weird? Or did you hook up with him? Oh, were you uncomfortable during the sex? They're looking for something because they don't like him. And you nailed it, Rob. This is, they're trying to get, it's election season. She wants to do her thing. What was Byron Donalds going to do? Go up there and be like, no, man, I like that they're alphas and they're trying to hook up with chicks. No, they have to do it because at the end of the day, even though I love Byron, being from New York, being from Brooklyn, you're still a politician. These are the things that you have to say. But these guys, and again, this still goes down to Andrew. I didn't get to ask him the other day. You're talking the talk. They're gonna do it. They're gonna come after you. And I don't think he's gonna back down. He's gonna keep doing it, and it is what it is.
Here's what I got. Okay, before we go to the top G, Tom Ellsworth. But here's my thoughts on
top T.
Tate.
Top E.
So a few things to go through. if these guys did XYZ, yeah. If they did, they did.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing we control over the guests that we have on and people that we talk to. If there's a crime that's done, a crime is done. I have kids. When I go to school and they get in trouble and they tell me, and then they have tape, and you see and say, hey, bro, you punched the guy. What do you want me to tell you? And then we go back and we're like, pull up the tape. And they pull up the tape, and the kid punched my son first, and then he punched him back. They kicked my son out of a soccer camp, Tico.
Oh, really?
And he's like, Dad, I'm telling you, you and I have a relationship. I don't lie to you. He hit my stomach. I punched him in the face. I said, he did not hit you in the stomach. He says, Dad, I'm telling you, he's crying now. Yeah. And that's not, he doesn't do that. I know. I'm like, dude, I called the owner back. I said, do you have tape for the protection of kids? I noticed on your site you said you have tape. We do. Play the tape back. I want to see it. And then you have to call me back. No problem, sir. We'll get back to you. They call me an hour later. Voice is cracking. What happened? Your son is right.
Huh.
He punched him in the stomach first. Then he punched him in the face and dropped him. And the only thing we saw was him being punched, and we kicked your son out. We apologized to him. I said, you don't need to apologize to me. You didn't do anything to my ego. He needs to hear it from you guys. I said, what'd you guys do to the other kid? We called the parents. That kid can never come here ever again.
Wow.
We take him there. They apologize to him. He goes in there and trains. Guess what? The tape is there. If they're guilty, there's nothing even a fan, a supporter, a friend, a relative, a family, anybody can do.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it is, right? So let's go to the next one. Allegations fully investigated. Why? Are the allegations in Florida? Are you investigating for what he's doing in Florida? Okay. Not been here for 6 years. You want to investigate him for what he's doing in Florida? Okay. Based on what premises? Based on what issues? Based on what evidence? If you do, great. That's your job. Go do it. But if it's because of what they did in Romania, you want to do it here. Do we have an extradition law between U.S. and Romania? Is there any kind? I know U.S. and UK have it from 06 and 03 or 07 and 03, but is there anything there with Romania? I don't know what the relationship there is with Romania. So are you working closely with Romania? Is that what you're doing?
I'm going to guess no, but I could.
The United States and Romania have an extradition treaty. The treaty was signed in Bucharest in 2007 and went into effect. Okay, so that's a different treaty.
But that's federal though, right? I mean.
Yeah, but you're right. That's federal, but can they use it? So they would need Trump to come in, and Trump's answer was, I don't know anything about it. Then what's the other one? Abuse of women, trafficking. If they're accused of this by law, then they're guilty. Then that's the law. So let the law prove that this has happened. If it's happened, it's happened. And, when you're asked, you're not welcome to Florida, it's a little bit of, and by the way, for Tate is not helping himself out either when he's saying, you think I'm going to leave my stuff? You don't think I'm a pro? You don't think I know this? My phone? That
was a little weird.
That's like
you're poking the bear.
Yeah, anyways, that's a whole different conversation on
but
that
the question
area.
is, can you be charged, arrested, tried for being a loudmouth talker?
What do you mean? Look at Trump.
Look, that's not the point here. Look, for my lifestyle, who's my lifestyle more close to? Tate or DeSantis?
DeSantis.
The way I live my life.
Yes,
obviously.
Way more DeSantis.
Way more DeSantis. Okay.
Yes.
Tom Tate, but whatever.
Who's this?
Tom's like
Tate.
Go ahead.
Nobody knows about
Don't
that.
talk about that. I'm sorry, Tom. I'm sorry that I
don't
put
do
you
that
up
again, Benny.
Sorry.
But to me,
Yep.
dude, we had Anthony Weiner here. Oh, you think we have Anthony Weiner because we support what he's done in his life? It's a conversation.
No. Yeah.
And some of the people don't realize we've had Tate on 2 other times. Each podcast was 5 hours. You know what things we asked about? Everything.
Everything, yeah.
This is like the 13th hour of a podcast we've done together when he came to the States. You know why he feels comfortable here and he comes to the podcast? Because it's a conversation. It's safe. It's like, hey, where are you at? What do you want to do? You know what else I said? I hope he goes on Making Kelly. I hope he goes and does Making Kelly. I hope he goes, and I hope Ben Shapiro invites him, similar to how Newsom invited Charlie Kirk. Can you pull up the Newsom-Charlie Kirk thing? I hope Shapiro sends an invite. Can you imagine if Shapiro, you know what would be the biggest alpha play here? If Shapiro tweets out and says, hey, Tate, since you're in Florida, let's do a podcast together. Now, Tate may not trust to go there because, Ben is close to DeSantis, and he may feel like they may set him up, so he may have a little bit of concern there. Here's what Newsom did. There's Newsom and Charlie Kirk. Newsom invites Charlie Kirk on his podcast. Would you have ever guessed that he was going to do that?
Never.
But he did. Play this clip, Rob.
Respect.
Play this clip.
Trying to put my son to bed. He's like, no, Dad, what time? What time's Charlie going to be here? What time? And I'm like, dude, you're in school tomorrow. He's 13. He's like, no. This morning, wakes up at 6 something. He's like, I'm coming. I'm like, Craig, he literally would not leave the house.
Did you let him to take off school?
No, he did. Of course not. He's not here for a good reason. But the point is,
you canceled school for like 2 years. Once one.
Which is, you are making a damn dent.
Great comeback, Charlie Kirk.
Charlie's amazing.
Charlie's so
bro.
damn good. By the way, Gavin Newsom's son, who's 13 years old, is a fan of Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
Read between the lines.
Yeah.
You think his son is woke and weird and
So, but by the way, the part I'm trying to say here is you're afraid of a conversation? Listen, say what you say about Newsom. I love the fact that he had Charlie Kirk on.
Yeah.
I can't wait to watch. When is it coming out? But I can't wait to watch the whole thing.
It might be
I
out.
love
I
the
think
fact.
it's got to be already.
Is
out.
it out? I haven't
It's
seen it. The
being
only thing,
promoted
that's
like
the
this.
first clip I've ever seen that Rob just played. I can't wait to see the podcast. So guess what? The Shapiros of the world, the Megyn Kellys of the world, invite him. Invite him and ask the questions, your questions, whatever they may be. Why don't you have the conversation?
With
See
Tate.
where it goes. Yes, of course. And look, I don't know if he's going to say yes or not. They're definitely going to have a box of chocolate ready for him
for sure.
when they go there.
Maybe
right?
maybe not 250 grand.
I don't know if he's going to ask for the
And
250.
I think going back to this Florida thing, and another point that we should make as well, knowing that Casey DeSantis is likely going to run for governor, that this is all about, a woman running for governor, being tough on basically one of the biggest, figures of masculinity that exists in the world today, right? So visually, that's what that's about as well.
Great. Let's see if it works. If you're lobbying for that, what Trump has shown, pattern with Trump, absolute respect, absolute loyalty. He's extremely forgiving, as weird as it sounds. Typically, bosses are not forgiven. He's very forgiving. He moves on very quickly once you apologize. And then he lets competition decide who's going to be the leading candidate. And last minute, he will endorse whoever's able to do the work to get the support that they deserve. That's his formula. Very simple. That's how capitalists think. You have to forgive. Whenever you're in the sales business, you know what sales business does to you? Let me tell you what's the weirdest thing about sales business. Sales business, you cannot make it as a sales leader long term without learning forgiveness. You will not make it. You will not make it. Because your sales guys F up all the time. And they screw up and they say stuff to you and they go through the process and da-da-da-da-da. And you're like, we got to move on, man. What did you do? Okay, let's move on. What are you going to do this year? Let's go. Okay, I apologize. I effed up. Okay, great. Let's move on. That sales and business culture teaches you to learn how to move on. But anyways, so couple things. For those of you that are watching the podcast now, if you go download Connect, the app, and you join PBD Podcast Circles, if you join the circle, what you get a chance to do, it's $50 a month. But everybody throughout the month gets to communicate together. Here's what we're going to be doing. All the notes that we look at, the way we write out the news and our research team is all in there. So if you go right now and join the circle, you're going to see all these notes in there. On top of that, you guys get to communicate with each other all day long throughout the day, throughout the month. When stories happen, everybody posts there. We get to ask you what are some issues you want us to talk about on the podcast. And last but not least, after the podcast, we do a behind the scenes, what our takeaway was. We'll do it sometimes with some interviews, other things that we're doing. But go download the app, Manek, Rob, if you can put up the QR code up there. If you can download the app and get that QR code, go to Manek, download the app, go to Circles PBD Podcast, join the circle, see the notes, and then we'll be able to interact throughout the month. We're excited about. There's going to be a lot of unique surprises with Circle. Stay tuned. Big news for all of us. After a year and a half of trying to get permits of this city for the cigar lounge, after creating the sprinklers that they wanted in the ceiling for the cigar lounge, after getting the tobacco license, after getting the alcohol license, after getting the 2-bar setup, after getting all of it permitted into a club, comedy club, that's being launched here soon. And so for those of you that are wanting to be members of the cigar lounge, the boardroom, there's already 61 members, okay? It's only 80 of them that we're talking about at the phase 1 that we're going through. And there's going to be an interesting guest showing up here soon to the cigar lounge, possibly for the grand opening. I can't tell you who that is, but there's a lot of speculation who that could be. You can figure it out, but it's only for those who are members of the club. So if you want to submit an application to be considered, I look at every single application that comes into my hand. Rob, if we can put the website to go to for it, What is the website for the cigar lounge, by the way? Do you know what it's called?
BoardroomCigarLounge.com.
BoardroomCigarLounge.com. BoardroomCigarLounge.com. Rob, if you can put the link in chat as well, and the comment section and description. Go to it, submit your applications. And for those of you guys that smoke cigars that maybe you want to come ready for it, once you are a member, 100 of these are available for you to purchase. This is Valuetainment cigar accessories. Rob, if you can go to this so they can see it as well. In this, when you open it up, you have the ashtray, the Valuetainment ashtray. You have the Valuetainment lighter, and you have the Valuetainment cutter, okay? $74.95. Go to the website, vtmerch.com, and we are looking forward to seeing you come there with your lighter and with your, cutter. So again, vtmerch.com to get that. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.